It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the Nation newspaper. The major story here says, Tinubu to Supreme Court. Obi, Labour Party's appeal met jamboree. Tinubu to Supreme Court. Obi, Labour Party's appeal met jamboree. And some writers here, President, Vice President ask Apex Court to reject their suit. Say APM's challenge of Shettima's nomination waste of court's time. Certificate saga attempt to truncate civil rule. Basiru is speaking. And another story on that, the major story here says Nigeria's 87 trillion naira total debt profile manageable, says IMF, denies debt restructuring talks with government. And how Nigerian scammed 70 American businesses of $6 million is another story here. Ondo Assembly denies halting Ayedatiwa's impeachment. Mubad, Corona, summons Naira Marley, others. 2,800 dead as Israeli orders Gaza evacuation. That's the story on the bottom strip there. And at the top corner, CAC, SON, ASMID, and 11 others get new chief executive officers. Imam is new firmer board chair, Agbasi, MD. All right, this story is, okay. We'll move now to another story on the front page of, to the Daily Times now. Huge row in Senate between Ndume Akpabio. Carry verbal exchange from plenary to executive session. Chief Whip storms out of chamber in fury. Accuses Akpabio of disrespect for rules. That's the story here. Now, the other story, resigned due to fallout from opaque background, ex-SGF Lawal tells Tinubu. And at the top down corner here, Governor Lord's appeal court for sacking senator from his state. Don't accommodate sell land to criminals, legislators warn Bauchi royal fathers. Labour Party flays 160 million naira car gift to lawmakers. And at the downstream, governor's intervention over face-off among Akwa Ibom traditional rulers falls. At the top corner, Lagos, Kaduna generated enough IGR as a state's cumulative revenue hits 6.6 trillion naira. A report is saying that, and the write down that the story says Rivers, Lagos, Anambra top fiscal performance ranking as Zamfara Bayelsa being relieved from bottom. All the details of the story on the front page of the Daily Times. To the First News newspaper now, Nadeko descends on Senate President Akpabio, asks him to resign or risk impeachment for high-handedness, lacking empathy for Nigerians. Slams Senate President's leadership style. Okay, and another story here. Electricity subsidy gulped 135 billion naira in 3 months. Federal government is speaking. Tinubu appoints Liu Okparaudu as ICPC chair secretary. Opera in Senate as Ndume tackles Akpabio storms out in anger. Lawmakers go into executive session. COVID-19 intervention funds, reps probe mismanagement of disbursed 183.9 billion naira. Retired DIG sues police commission, demands reinstatement, 550 million naira damages. Ayedatiwa impeachment saga, Ondo Assembly agrees to ceasefire. And at the top, a Papa-led LP gives P2B 48 hours to clarify identity or risk suspension. A Papa-led Labour Party gives P2B 48 hours to clarify an identity or risk suspension. That's the story you find on the front page of the First News newspaper. To the Punch newspaper now, the major story, 35,000 naira wage award. Labour gives governors ultimatum, 61 million Nigerians to get 1 trillion naira. And the writers here say ultimatum given by NLC TUC applicable to states, Kano, Gombe, NLC chapters, others. 50 million households to get 25,000 naira monthly. Program will reduce poverty, says World Bank. And another story, free Israeli hostages, France, Turkey urge Hamas. Under lawmakers meet Ganduje, suspend Ayeda Tiwa impeachment. Many feared killed as Oyo security agents herders clash. And the picture here says 14 injured as two BRT vehicles collide in Lagos. An unfortunate incident there. At the top corner, Tinubu ministers face first assessment January. Tinubu ministers face first assessment January. Another story here, protesters storm National Assembly, oppose EFCC chair's confirmation. Why I want 550 million naira damages for compulsory retirement. Ex-DIG is speaking. All right, we move now to the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. Subsidy palliative. Labour demands transparency as federal government begins disbursement of 25,000 naira to households. 50 million households to benefit from 1 trillion naira conditional cash transfer for 3 months. Federal government is saying that cash transfer crucial in helping overcome initial hardship period. World Bank is also affirming organized labor demands speedy implementation of memorandum of understanding. And down here, we see license renewal, NIMC suspends NIN enrollment by partners, UNN certificate scandal, Labour Party threatens to suspend P2B, and inflation, soaring food prices, diminishing purchasing power push Nigerians to brink. On the downstream here, wealth management financial experts urge SMEs to embrace discipline, consistency at a business series that recently happened. And at the top corner, reignited hope as FEC grants Ogun State government approval to reconstruct Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway. Under lawmakers agreed to ceasefire on impeaching embattled deputy governor. Maida resumes as NCC EVC to prioritize improvement of quality of service. Those are the stories you find on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. And quickly, we move to the Nigerian Tribune. APC halts under deputy governor's impeachment process meets with lawmakers. Akeredolu rules out return to Germany for treatment. And this other story, Tinubu names Aliyu Arabi as ICPC NACON chairman. Troops apprehend 59 suspected criminals in Plateau, Bauchi, Kaduna. Storm in Senate as Ndume walks out over clash with the Fabio drama over point of order. Police bust the illegal arms manufacturing company in Lagos, arrests 2. Those are the major stories you find on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. And the other paper we'll be going to now is this Nigeria newspaper. The major story here says uproar in Senate over motion on Nigeria Niger border closure. Uproar in Senate over motion on Nigeria Niger border closure. In the May stages of walkout, Akpabio summons executive session to douse tension. Kano senator says crimes increasing over closed border. And the story here, another story here, Tinubu begins 1 trillion naira conditional cash transfer to 50 million households. Poverty keg of gunpowder if unchecked, says Minister Betta Edu. And another story at the top corner, Wike lifts ban on building approvals. FCTA commences audit in satellite towns. Protesters kick as Tinubu seeks Senate confirmation of Olukoyede as EFCC chair. South Africa set to topple Nigeria as Africa's biggest economy. And to the West, newspaper now. Return or resign under youths. Challenge Akeredolu. Return or resign under youths. Challenge Akeredolu. That's on the front page of the West newspaper. I'm not returning to Germany for treatment. Governor is responding. Recall that the youth wing of the People's Democratic Party had embarked on a protest seeking to know the whereabouts of the governor. And now he has come out to say that he is not returning to Germany for treatment. Another story here. Adeleke to redesign pensioners audit program orders senior citizens to start coming to Oshogbo for audit. This is an interesting development because we had this conversation about 2 days ago where we saw some of the pensioners fainting in the process of going out to confirm their data. And now the governor is speaking that there will be a redesign of the pensioners audit program and that the senior citizens need not come to Oshogbo for audit. Some good news there. Tinubu appoints new ICPC boss, government to take over Lagos Ota-Abeokuta Expressway for repairs. We won't refund money spent. The federal government is already telling the Ogun State government about that. Now, Labour Party slams federal government for promising lawmakers expensive jeeps. Trader fires gunshots to celebrate Ladipo market reopening. And Makinde approves promotion of 4 Oyo civil servants. Ibraheem.
Blueprint is the first that I have with me. The screaming headline, impeachment, Ganduje brokers truce in Ondo Assembly, Aiyedatiwa face-off. Lawmakers suspend move against Deputy Governor, APC Chair, Mercery Hill stakeholders urge political solution. You can read that on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. Below the nameplate, Army NABs, IPOB, ESN artillery launchers. Reps probe expenditure of COVID-19 intervention funds. Senate in rowdy session over procedural error as Ndume protest. You see that on page 9. National reorientation core of renewed hope agenda. That's Malagi on page 6 of the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. The lower part of it, you see Tinubu launches cash transfer program for 15 million households. Poverty, keg of gunpowder, says Better Edu. And on the bottom strip, we have about 3 different stories there. Tinubu names Adamu Aliyu ICPC chair, appoints Arabi Nakon boss. Niger, CJ weeps over killing of court registrar by bandits. I won't allow memos that will plunge Adamawa into bankruptcy, Ahmed Ofintiri warns. The Guardian newspaper is next. You see the first part of it where the infographics of the 2023 general election overview, with the breakdown there, and the headline with the kicker, 2023 elections by court order. INEC's credibility sinks as 94% contested posts await tribunal. That's on page 6. Uproar in Senate as Akpabio Ndume face-off gets messier. You can read that up on page 8 of the Guardian newspaper. Budget report shows states heavily dependent on federal allocation for budget. Discordant tunes persist over legality of appointing ministers of state. Tinubu begins 1.125 trillion naira conditional cash transfers to 15 million households. Subsidy, no alternative to local refining capacity. That's the editorial for the Guardian newspaper. Inflation may deter investors from rights issue as 6 firms raise 22 billion naira. You can read that up on the Guardian newspaper. Now, Daily Independent is next. Excuse me. Federal government's cash transfer targets 15 million households to gulp 1.125 trillion naira. Labour Party tackles federal government over 57.6 billion naira SUVs for 360 reps. November 11th, Goba polls. INEC raises concerns over number of litigations. You can read that up on page 25. And then at the lower part, Senator takes sides as Senate President Akpabio Ndume clash. AGF AFDB to unlock $5 billion financing for women SMEs, unveil Nigeria's Afawa Finance Series. And at the bottom strip, blast kills over 500 at Gaza hospital. Hamas, Israel trade blame. That's on page 6. Obi not Tinubu won 2023 presidential poll, says ex-SGF Babacho Lawal. That's waking up from oblivion after the elections in the general election in 2023. So you can read that up on the Daily Independent. Next is Leadership newspaper. Fear of high school fees grips parents, students. Government shifting responsibility, commercializing education. That's stakeholder. Say new fee regime burdensome. No tuition policy deceptive. ASU distances self from fee hike. That's on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. Naira falls to lowest, 848 Naira to the dollar at official market. No criminal recruited into police in Kano, says CP. Federal government takes war against cervical cancer to 16 states. And federal government pays 135 billion Naira electricity subsidy to stop tariff hike. You can see that on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. And above the nameplate, Israel-Hamas war. NSCIA calls for ceasefire in Gaza. Salary verification, federal workers stranded in Abuja. You see that on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. Next is Nature News. Environment Minister Abbas Lawal resumes promises. Environment Minister Abbas Lawal resumes promises a cleaner, greener Nigeria. You see that on page 3 of the Nature newspaper. And Tinubu pledges commitment to sustainable mining development. Plastic pollution hindering Nigeria's international trade. NIS boss. 1.5 million homes in UK at risk of flooding from melting Arctic ice. 1.5 million homes in UK at risk of flooding from melting Arctic ice. You see that on page 23. Jamo reiterates commitment to digitalize maritime industry. And on the bottom strip, cricket returns to Olympics after 128 years. You see that on page 21 of the Nature newspaper. The penultimate paper with me is Business Day. Nigeria's outrageous ship berthing cost worsens petrol prices. Nigeria's outrageous ship berthing cost worsens petrol prices. And the rider, average cost in West African neighbors 5 times lower. Now, food prices still surging amid federal government stabilization plan. Weaker Naira drives up foreign demand for local products. That's all about it on the front page of the Business Day newspaper. And the last but not least is Daily Trust. Israeli forces kill 3,308 Palestinians, 500 killed at Gaza hospital, 2,417 children, women among casualties. Palestinian President Jordan King cancel meeting with Biden. That's on page 4. Biden must end Israel's war on Gaza. You see, that is a front page comment of the Daily Trust newspaper. And the infographics of the human cost of the Israeli-Hamas war, you see the total number of people killed as of 17th of October 2023. That's about 3,308 Palestinians killed, and Israelis lost 1,400 casualties. Palestinians dead and missing, more than 1,000 are children. 1,417 are women, 59 plus killed at occupied West Bank, and 1,000 missing under rubble. And that's really a gory picture to paint about the Israeli-Hamas war, which has broken out, for more than 11 days and running.
All right. That's a really sad development there, but that's the much we can take with regards to the papers this morning.